Welcome to Live Interactive English. Hello everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And today and tomorrow, Sam, we are going to be looking at something I'm sure I've never been to your home. I don't know exactly how many, machines you have, but I bet you have at least 10 of these things in your home.
10 of what?
Remote controls.
Oh.
That's what we're going to be learning about today and tomorrow.
10.
10. I'm betting 10. It seems like a big number, but once you start counting...
I was going to say, at first I hear 10 and I think, yeah, that's too many, but...
I have 5 on the table in my living room, the little coffee table in front of TV, DVD player, air conditioner, music player, a fan, maybe 2 for fans actually. My wife likes fans. And then, in the bedroom, there's the air conditioner. In the other room, I have another fan. Yeah, I'm thinking I have 9 or 10 around my house.
Yeah, I think for us, we've got the air conditioning ones.
Yes.
And every air conditioning unit has a remote control.
Yes.
And so we have plenty and they all can be interchanged, and yet I can never find them in my house. So
even though one control could run the whole house.
I should just start putting it in my pocket and not letting anybody else move it. I always put it in the right spot. This room goes here, this room goes here, but they always end up everywhere.
That's a good tip. You should have a little place, a little basket or a little box, a little bag for your remote controls, because they are wonderfully convenient. They allow you to, run machines, control machines from anywhere. But of course, when you lose one, suddenly things become very inconvenient because a lot of machines don't have buttons on them. Anymore. So how did remote controls come to rule not just televisions and things like that, but many or even most of the machines in our home? Let's check out the history and uses of remote controls. Have you ever counted the number of remote controls in your home? There are probably more than you realize. That's because they are used for all kinds of everyday activities, such as changing television channels, turning on air conditioning units, and opening garage doors. Toy cars also make use of remote controls, and burglar alarms, window shades, and home media centers do too. But how did they become such a common feature of our lives? While you may think that the remote control is a fairly new piece of technology, it actually dates back over 100 years. In 1898, the famous inventor Nikola Tesla demonstrated what is considered to be the world's first remote control in New York City. Okay, so the history and uses of remote controls. History, of course, is telling kind of the story of remote controls. Uses, the uses of something. We're just basically talking about how people use this in normal life these days, all right? So let's check it out. It says, have you ever counted the number of remote controls in your home? Go ahead, do it now. You might walk around the home and count them, try to remember how many there are. There are probably more than you guess. You will probably not think of all of them because we have so many. It says there are probably more than you realize, more than you think. If you think of the number and then actually count the number, the real number might be a little bit higher than what you remember.
Yes, and also because sometimes you don't think it's a remote and it actually is. Like I forget about the remotes for the little remote control cars, for example.
Exactly.
Or video game remotes too.
There you go. Some you don't use very often.
Yes. And it says that's because they are used for all kinds of everyday activities, such as changing television channels, turning on air conditioning units, and opening garage doors. A garage is a place that you might store your car, and I think in Taiwan there aren't as many personal garages. Like in America, your house usually will have a garage attached, which is basically a small house just for your car and actually, for most people, it's your car and all the stuff you don't want in your house. You shove it into the garage and close the door and don't look at it. But here you might see it more often as like a parking garage where you have a whole bunch of cars all parked together. And so we have this example sentence that says, my dad spent the day fixing his car in the garage, something my dad does quite often.
There you go. It can be a confusing word. It's where you leave your car, a building, not just a big open space. That would be a parking lot. And we also use it to talk about where a mechanic works, fixing broken cars. I don't have my scooter, it's at the garage, I have to get the engine fixed. So we use it in a bunch of different ways, but here it's basically like your car's little home, or the place you leave your car when you're not using it. And to make it a little more confusing, British people say garage.
Oh yeah, they do.
So you have to be a little careful with that. But whatever you call it and however you're using it, don't lose the remote control for your garage. Here's another thing. It says toy cars also make use of remote controls, and burglar alarms, window shades, and home media centers do too. That would be like your television, your Blu-ray, DVD, that kind of thing. But how did they become such a common feature of our lives? It's true, when I was a kid, having one or two was normal, it was kind of fun, it was kind of special, but now almost every new machine you will buy will come with some kind of remote control.
Yes, maybe technology got better, but also maybe people got just a little bit lazier. So if we keep reading, it says, while you may think that the remote control is a fairly new piece of technology, it actually dates back over 100 years. In 1898, which I had no idea, I thought that was very interesting to find out, yes. So in 1898, the famous inventor Nikola Tesla demonstrated what is considered to be the world's first remote control in New York City.
Very interesting. And here's another interesting fact. In 1899, he lost that remote control and he never found it again.
And he could never use the device again.
Yeah, amazing. Brilliant man, but always losing remote controls. Yes, Nikola Tesla was a brilliant man and also a brilliant inventor. An inventor is kind of like a scientist and kind of like an engineer. They're using science and then they're building things like an engineer would to make new things. So if you have an idea and you have the skill and knowledge to get wires or whatever you need to make this machine, even a very simple version, but you're the first one to make something like that, well done. You are an inventor like Thomas Edison, one of the most famous inventors around. Here's an example. The inventor was pleased with what she had created. Very cool. Hopefully it's a remote control you can never lose.
It'd be glued to your arm.
That's a cool idea. I like that idea.
So then we also had this word demonstrate, and demonstrate is a verb, and it basically just means to kind of show how something is done. So if you are the expert in fixing this TV and using this TV in this whole media center, then you might demonstrate, okay, this button turns it on, this one makes the surround sound, and this changes the brightness. And so you are demonstrating, you are showing how this object or this thing is done or used. And so our example sentence says, my mom demonstrated how to chop vegetables very quickly, which some people are very good at, and there is a technique, so they might demonstrate and teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Me neither. I've had it demonstrated, but I've never been able to do it myself. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, go look for our lost remote controls, and then we'll be back.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这2天的课程是要介绍遥控器的历史和用途。同学们有数过家里面有多少只遥控器吗？实际的数量可能比你知道的还要多哦。除了一般电器的遥控器，可能还有你这个开车库门的遥控器啊，玩具汽车也会有遥控器，还有防盗警报器啊，甚至是遮光窗帘等等，可能都有。虽然你可能认为遥控器是一项相当新的技术，但实际上呢，它可以追溯到100多年前，1898年的时候，知名的发明家尼古拉特斯拉， 它在纽约市展示了被认为是世界上第一支的遥控器。好，那么单字 garage 在这边是指车库。Sam 老师提到说，在美国啊，有不少房子都附有私人车库，就像是车子也有自己的小房子。那大家可能也会把用不到的杂物都往那边去塞。好 ，Sam 老师他用到 attached。attached， 那 attached 可以形容是附加的或是附属的，还有用到 shove 这个动词 shove，shove 就表示乱塞的意思。好，那么 Mike 老师则补充说 garage 它也有汽车修理厂的意思。那他也补充说，像英式英语里面的发音，有的人会把它念作 garage。好，下一个单字 inventor， 它表示发明者、创造者。demonstrate 这个动词表示展示、示范或者是说明、显示。好，这边3个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 the number of 之后接复数可数名词，可以表达什么什么的数量。the number of 加名词，用这个来当主词的时候，必须搭配单数动词哦。举例来说 ，the number of electric cars on the road is increasing。路上电动车的数量在增加。第二个重点是 make use of something， 它表示利用、使用什么什么。use 在这边是当不可数名词，那前面还可以接 good、better 或是 more 等等形容词来强调程度。举例来说 ，You should make good use of your spare time。你应该善加利用你的空闲时间。那补充一个用法是 put something to use， 也可以指利用什么什么。那么 use 前面也可以加 good、great 等等形容词来修饰。举例来说 ，Thanks for your tips. I'll put them to good use. 谢谢你提供的诀窍，我会好好利用的。那第3个重点是动词 consider 可以表达认为，把什么视为。我们可以用 consider somebody or something to be 再加名词或形容词，表达说认为某人或某事物是怎么样的。那被动用法是 be considered to be 加上名词或形容词。那注意中间的 to be 都可以省略哦。举例来说 ，The singer is considered a fashion icon。那位歌手被视为时尚指标。好，接回到课文中。
Using a box with an antenna and a lever, he controlled the movements of a miniature boat. This early remote control was able to communicate with the boat using radio waves, but to the crowd who had gathered to see his show, it looked like magic. Although nothing much came of this original invention, it served as the first step in the development of modern remote controls.
Okay, welcome back. So what we had just read was that an actual remote control had been used over 100 years ago by Nikola Tesla, and we're about to see what did he do with that remote.
It wasn't a television remote, I know that.
Definitely not. So let's see. So it says, using a box with an antenna and a lever, he controlled the movements of a miniature boat.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'd play with that now.
Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me, there's a computer game called Red Dead Redemption 2, a cowboy game around that time, and one of the missions, you have to control a remote-controlled miniature boat.
That's interesting.
Maybe they took that from Nikola Tesla. What a cool thing. Anyway, this early remote control was able to communicate with the boat using radio waves. But to the crowd who had gathered to see his show, it looked like magic. Of course, today, I think if we had a time machine, we would see it and go, oh, it's just a remote control. We kind of understand how they work, sending signals through the air. But back then, that seemed like magic. They didn't know you could communicate between machines using radio signals.
Yes, that must have been quite shocking for them. And so we had this word communicate. So communicate is a verb and it means to talk between two people. But in this case, you can also use it when you're talking about like technology and radio waves, and a signal is being sent between these two things. And so that's also a way of communicating or talking or sending information back and forth. So it could be communicating with your voice, through chatting, it could be through radio waves, it could be through an electric signal, it could be all kinds of different things as long as information is being passed between one thing and the other thing, then you're communicating back and forth. And so we have our example sentence and it says you should communicate with your friends so that they know how you feel, which is definitely a good thing to do.
Absolutely. You can even communicate by writing letters or just waving hello or something like that. Now, back in 1898, this was kind of a cool thing, but it was just kind of a cool thing. They didn't have a lot of machines to control this way. So it says, although nothing much came of this original invention, it served as the first step in the development of modern remote controls. Back then they had horses and horses would pull wagons. They didn't have airplane. You can't really control a lot of the old machines they had then using this method, this remote control. So the original idea didn't really turn into much, but later on it did. Original, when we use this adjective, it means basically the first, the one that came first, the one that we heard of first, the first one of many that came afterwards. For example, the original flavor is my favorite. So maybe we're talking about a kind of potato chip or drink or something like that. Now they have many flavors, but you like the first one that the company started with, the original flavor. So there you go. That's all the time we have, guys. You can go find those lost remotes. I recommend looking down the back of the sofa. They often fall there or under the cushions of the sofa, under the bed, maybe in the fridge.
Oh.
I think I left my remote control in the fridge once when I went to get a snack. Lots of places to find remotes, and tomorrow we're going to have much more information about them and how people use them in interesting ways. So we'll see you back here for that. Until then, bye!
Bye!
Click.
刚刚说尼古拉特斯拉在纽约市展示了被认为是世界上第一支遥控器。那它是用一个带有天线和控制杆的盒子来控制一艘微型船的移动。那这个早期的遥控器呢，能够使用无线电波与小船来进行通讯。但是对于那些看它展示表演的人群来说，看起来就好像是魔术一样。Sam 老师提到说，这在当时啊，应该很令人震惊。老师用到 shocking 这个形容词。shocking shocking 它就是形容令人震惊的。那么虽然尼古拉特斯拉这个最初的发明并没有带来什么成果，但是它却成了现代遥控器发展的第一步。好，那我们最后来看看单字 communicate 这个动词就表示传达、传递或者是交流沟通。original 则是形容起初的、原来的。好，那么以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Have you ever counted the number of remote controls in your home? There are probably more than you realize. That's because they are used for all kinds of everyday activities, such as changing television channels, turning on air conditioning units, and opening garage doors. Toy cars also make use of remote controls, and burglar alarms, window shades, and home media centers do too. But how did they become such a common feature of our lives? While you may think that the remote control is a fairly new piece of technology, it actually dates back over 100 years. In 1898, the famous inventor Nikola Tesla demonstrated what is considered to be the world's first remote control in New York City. Using a box with an antenna and a lever, he controlled the movements of a miniature boat. This early remote control was able to communicate with the boat using radio waves. But to the crowd who had gathered to see his show, it looked like magic. Although nothing much came of this original invention, it served as the first step in the development of modern remote controls.
Hey, 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 it's KiWi on the street. I'm Kiki.
And I'm Winnie.
We have a lot of visitors in Taiwan all the time from all sorts of countries. But we are often asked questions in English, and sometimes we have to think about it in Chinese. So today we are going to work on some translations.
Let's go. 我要1份5号餐，再加1份薯条。
Okay. I want a meal number 5 and plus French fries.
Very good. So we have, I would like a number 5 and a side of fries. Very good. Good job.
请问可以刷卡吗？
我会这个 Can I pay by card?
Can you pay by card? Of course you can pay by card. Yes. 请问可以刷卡吗？
Can I use credit card?
Can I pay by credit card?
Very good. Can I use credit card? Can I pay by credit card? Very good. Good job. 那我们今天学到了什么呢？
Let's take a look at some other ways we can translate the phrases that we heard today. I want 1 combo 5 and some French fries. You can also say, I would like a number 5 meal with an additional order of fries. The next one is, do you take credit card? Or can I pay by card? And these are the translations that we learned today. See you later!